I'm JT. Welcome to People and Projects. Today, talking with an interesting person who has a fascinating project. Welcome, Rich Kellogg. How are you today, Rich?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's
Uh,
great to be here. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. Now, you are, I've started an organization called Possibilities Unlimited, and you are affecting particularly some folks in Uganda. So, right off the shoot, how did you get into this? How did you first get started? You've been doing this for quite a few years.
You know what? I have mission work is in my blood. We're like three, four generations working in. I have cousins that have been forever in Indonesia, Thailand, and those types of things. And I've heard stories my whole life. And then right out of college, I had an opportunity to do some work in Haiti. We worked there for 7 years. And then a group in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We were able to do some programs there, working with a children's home. We did that. And then, the person that I was working for, that was a dream job. I loved it. I thought I'd be in Brazil forever. But this man and his wife had been there for 35 years. And he had a brain aneurysm. He passed away. They no longer wanted to continue the program. And I said, well, I guess I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So I prayed about it, and God just led me into Possibilities Unlimited. And we came up with that program. And then in Chicago, I met a man by the call, Peter Matibi. He's from Uganda, East Africa. I was at a missions conference. And at that conference, that was the last night of the conference. We had a dinner. And for 2 hours, he worked me over and asked me to come to Uganda. I had no desire, but I invited him to come to Ohio, stay with me for a couple of weeks. Then I went there, and I just fell in love with the country and with him and his family.
Neat. So, so that was how many years ago?
That was around 23 years ago, and I'm still there.
Still doing it. That's awesome.
Still doing
Now,
it.
over the years, I'm sure things have changed some, but talk about what are some of the services that Possibilities Unlimited help provide and help do in Uganda?
Yeah, sure. We started right off the bat a home. We called it the Home of Champions. It was a home for young children from the ages of 5 until about 13, something like that. But then things have changed. Now we still have these children that grow up. They get through college, and some go to university, some get married. It's in a very rural area, the poorest of the poor. So most of them are going to be farmers. But at this point now, we do continue to work with the Home of Champions. We have 72 teenagers, and it's
Wow.
just a great delight working with these kids.
Yeah. What are some of the things that, 72 teenagers, you're helping them? Is it a school? Is it all that and more?
Well, yeah, we do have the home. They actually live in a home. We have more like a dorm situation where they live in, and we take care of all of their needs. And they also go to the school in the community. And again, community isn't anything like we would have here in Ohio, but it's beautiful. The kids are doing a great job. I talk with their principal or the headmaster of the schools. They're always at the top of their list. Their English is really good, which is unusual in this part of the country, in the Western districts. And they do a really very, very well as far as their academics and so on. So, it's just a delight working with them. And so that's just one part of the program that we have. But then we have some other program. We want to talk, of course, about our water. We're more than water. So that's why I wanted to explain some of the other things that we have.
Sure. Well, talk about water. How does water come into play in Uganda?
Well, this is a fun story. When I first went on my first trip that I went with Peter, and we were out to the Home of Champions, and he said, "Hey, Rich, go with the children, go out and fetch some water. And we're going to cook. We're going to have a meal here. The ladies need some fresh water." My first experience, I had no idea what I was walking into. And I went with some of the young kids, and they had a bucket. An open bucket. It was like a 5-gallon bucket at that time. I said, "Okay, where are we going to go?" And they went in and found this muddy source of water, this pool of water. I thought they were just pranking me, but that's where they were getting their water.
Oh.
And they took an old dress, they put it over the top of that bucket, and they had a tin can, and they just kept pulling it and just pouring and pouring until they got all that they needed. And that was the water that we had. And they took it up there, strained it again. They boiled it and boiled it and boiled it. It didn't look appetizing, but I knew they boiled it so much it wasn't going to hurt us, and it didn't. But that was my first exposure to the water. And then after being there a couple of days on our way back into Kampala, the major city, I asked Peter, I said, why don't you have a well or a better source? And he said, I don't have the money, but if I had the money, I would put in a well right here. And it took me a few weeks, and I went back and I raised the money, and we had our first well, and we've been doing those every year since.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you probably put in a handful of wells now, yes?
Yeah, we have. I could just conservatively say there was over 10,000 people that had fresh, cold water today because of what we've done. It's a lot more than that, but thousands of people have benefited from that. And we take it for granted. We don't understand what it's like not to have water. So it's just beautiful, and sometimes I thought we were doing enough, but God had just put on my heart in the last year that it isn't enough. We need to do more. And so I'm spending more time in the water program than I ever have. And it's almost with me 24/7. I see the children that are hurting. I hear the cries of the mothers that are, they're just praying. And I thank God that he's able to use us to be part of the solution.
So do you put, is there a community well, or are there multiple wells, or do you kind of do wells per neighborhood? What is the plan?
When we go out into the villages, it is amazing because it may be hard to believe or comprehend, but we go into the areas where they've never had a well or a borehole ever. They've never had anything other than just getting that water and just scooping it out of the off the ground and drinking it that way. But we will sometimes, if it's a small community, we have one right now I made a commitment to, and Peter called me this morning and he said, Rich, where's that money? You said that we're going to have that, and they're calling. But we might put one in a community. Sometimes they need 3 or 5 in a community, depending on how large it is. If it's a couple thousand people, we might have to put in more. And it's a beautiful thing. And people have been responding. We have churches that have done it. Individuals have done it. They do it as a legacy for their family. We have a plaque that we put on there thanking the person in the United States that has donated that. And we give them recognition. And then for every well that we turn over into the community, we have a ceremony, a prayer dedication, and so on. But that really came in. We have medical teams that we've lead over there as well. We have the doctors and nurses and so on. And we have, that's a totally different program, but it's so beautiful. But they're telling me, they said, listen, we can come in and provide great medical services, but without the fresh water, we're really not helping as much as we could. So that's why the desire is to go out and do more and more with providing the water.
So water really is the basis. That's the first step. Yeah.
That is really, and that's my attention. That's where anybody who knows me, family, friends, wherever, they know, well, here he is talking about his water project.
How can folks help? I believe you have a website. Folks can go there. Can they donate there? Do you talk to groups? How can folks learn more?
If they'd like to learn more, they can go to our website. It is puww.org. We have information on there. We have our phone numbers where you could contact me. There's information about the different programs that we have where they can contribute. And as I said, we have the water program, the Home of Champions, the medical program. One of our newest programs that I'm excited about, maybe a year old, is the Young Entrepreneurship Program. And this is a program where we're teaching young people, the boys and the girls, young men and women, about sewing. So we have purchased some sewing machines, and they have done a really great job. We still need to get a couple more sewing machines, and we need to get some bolts, some rolls of material, and so on. But they're making suits. I have a suit now that when I do a presentation in a church that requires me to wear a suit, I'll brag on what they've done there. They've done wedding dresses and uniforms for different businesses in Kampala. So they're doing really well. And the beautiful thing is how that program helped us out in with the Home of Champions. Peter called and said, "Hey, Rich, we need new bed sheets for the kids. So I need 72 sheets and some pillowcases." I said, "Where will you get them?" He said, "Well, we just get them in the local market out here in the village." And I said, "Well, why would we do that? We have our own crew now that can make those." And so we did. That was a double blessing. We raised the money, we put it in, and gave it to those young people to make the sheets. Great quality. The kids were very happy. We have videos and pictures of them receiving that. And so we complement our programs. But the water, I will tell you this: we have a trip that's coming up in about the end of July. So I'm looking about 30 days to raise another $35,000. That would complete 10 new wells in that community. We have a work team of men in Columbus ready to go. They're ready. They're packed. They're ready to go. They called me and said, "Hey, are we still on?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." But that's where we are right now. We really, and I believe that God will just lead the right people here at the right time, and we'll get the funding to complete this mission.
Now, do you do more than that trip? Are there other trips ahead that folks can get involved? How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. I was there already in February and March of this year. We'll be there in July. We have another trip coming up in November. Also, with that trip, we'll have doctors and nurses that will be with us, perhaps a dentist that will be with us. But we'll be doing still the water, the medical. People ask, "I'd love to go on a mission trip. What can I do?" And I say, "What do you enjoy doing?" And I've taken pre-med students from Yale University, NYU, Florida State, and these pre-med students, they just had a riot. They go out there and they work and get involved and do the clinic, but then we might have some days off. And I said, "Well, would you like to work in a school?" They said, "Yeah." So I put them in a school. They will help teaching with math or science or different programs like that. So whatever you like to do. We've had teams in churches that said, "Hey, listen, we would like to hop along and do a vacation Bible school. We would like to do whatever they want to do." We have plenty to do.
Plenty of opportunity, huh?
We do have plenty of opportunity.
One more time, that website, puww.org. Get more information.
Yes.
Contact Rich. Maybe you want to put a small group together. Maybe you want to take some skills to Uganda and help out.
We'd love it.
We're getting short on time. What's ahead? What's ahead for Possibilities Unlimited?
Well, you know what? I'm excited of everything that I've told you. We also have a property in 7 locations over in Uganda, from 2 acres to 22 acres. And we're working on a program now. I didn't know if I'd even be able to mention it, but next year I hope to be rolling this out. We'll be putting a medical center together, or a small hospital, 42 beds. And this will
Well, I think we might have lost Rich, but there you go. A wonderful interview. Learn more at puww.org to get involved in missions in Uganda with Possibilities Unlimited. puww.org. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate it.